You know what you do when a group of guys in fake cop uniforms hops your fence at 2:30 in the morning, thinking they're about to scare you out of your own house. Some people would panic. Some would call 911. But me, I just poured another cup of chamomile tea, leaned back in my chair, and waited for one of those jokers to touch the handle I'd rigged up 3 days earlier. See, you've got to know your enemy. These weren't real cops, just thugs in polyester. Thinking a little badge and some intimidation tactics were enough to turn the law in their favor. The thing is, when the first guy grabbed that door, the whole yard lit up blue. Zap, and suddenly, all that fake confidence drained right out of him, replaced by this look of pure, electric panic. That's when the show really started. And I'll tell you, the HOA had no idea who they were messing with. They thought I was just the weird guy growing tomatoes in the front yard. Yeah, I'm that guy, Miles Cooper, 32, freelance IT engineer, owner of a modest home in Sunset Ridge, apparently a public menace, according to our HOA president, Veronica Lang. My big crime: growing vegetables instead of useless shrubs and refusing to paint my house the exact shade of approved beige. You know what I mean? I bought this place after my divorce, put every dime I had into it, and all I wanted was a quiet life. But in this neighborhood, ownership doesn't mean what you think it does. Not with someone like Veronica running the show. 47 violation notices in 8 months. Yeah, I counted. Everything from my fence being 2 centimeters too high to the crime of planting cherry tomatoes in plain sight. She'd walk by with her little ruler, snapping pictures like she was on CSI, and you'd think she was gathering evidence for a federal case, not nitpicking a neighbor. But it took me a while to figure out this wasn't about flowers or fences or community standards. There was real money moving in the background. Turns out, Veronica had a secret contract with Pinnacle Holdings, a construction company that paid her a commission every time someone got booted out. Average home value? $700,000. 15% spike every time they flipped a house. 3% straight into Veronica's pocket. Do the math. The harassment ramped up after I started pushing back, filing requests for official inspection records, forcing everything onto a paper trail. That's when the surveillance car showed up, a beat-up Honda Civic that parked across the street, same spot, every morning and night for weeks. My dash cam caught the plate, my IT brain started humming, and before long, I'm running pattern analysis like I'm back in grad school. Not to sound paranoid, but when a random guy calls your landline at 11 p.m., barking out threats in a fake, official voice, you start recording everything. Calls, footage, you name it. That's the thing about fear. It keeps you up at night, but if you use it right, it sharpens you. I didn't tell my sister about the threats. I couldn't. She had her own worries, and besides, Mom always said, don't let anyone push you around, but be smart. So, I played it smart. Every move was legal, every countermeasure documented. I set up a decoy Wi-Fi network to catch their tech guys snooping, hid cameras with infrared sensors all around my property, rigged vibration sensors to the fence. My 73-year-old neighbor, Mrs. Walker, agreed to keep watch and call police if anything went down. The legal warning signs, the 12-volt deterrent, the UV dye dispensers, every single detail designed for maximum effect without crossing the line. You think I went overboard? Maybe. But when you're facing an opponent who has money, power, and no conscience, there's no such thing as too careful. I logged every suspicious device connecting to my security network, recorded every unfamiliar face, every phone call, every threat. I even set up a fake police radio, wired it so anyone carrying it would broadcast their whole conversation straight to my laptop. That's the thing about criminals. They always think they're the smartest in the room, until you turn their own tricks against them. Then, out of nowhere, I get a text from someone calling themselves LB, said they had info about a planned illegal action against me. Turns out, it was Laura Bennett, the HOA's secretary, risking her own neck to feed me intel. And just like that, I realized this wasn't just a personal beef, it was systematic. Pinnacle Holdings was pulling this scam all over, buying out vulnerable homes, using HOA intimidation as a business strategy. And Veronica? She wasn't just power-hungry. She was part of something way bigger and dirtier than I'd guessed. That night, everything came to a head. The fake cops hopped my fence just like I'd predicted, all decked out in uniforms that would fool anyone but a real cop or a paranoid IT guy with Google Images. They moved in like a SWAT team, But the moment my speakers kicked in, blasting their fake badge numbers and my pre-recorded warnings, you could see the cracks start to form. Then came the electric jolt, the loud alarm, UV paint splattering across their hands and uniforms, and suddenly they're the ones panicking. Meanwhile, Mrs. Walker is on the phone with police dispatch. My yard's lit up like a crime scene, and my cameras are recording every single moment. The best part? Their own radios, those secure devices, were just feeding me all their chatter. I caught their boss on the line. If he won't comply, make him scared. That, my friend, is all you need for a federal conspiracy charge. And when the police showed up, real ones this time, they found 4 imposters trapped by my automated gates, hands stained with UV dye, every move documented. The officers took one look at my evidence, the rig network, the call logs, and I could see it in their faces. This wasn't some neighborhood squabble. This was organized crime. The real twist, though, came the next morning. Laura Bennett showed up at my door, pale and trembling, carrying a stack of documents that blew the roof off the whole operation. She'd been collecting emails, bank transfers, even photographs of Veronica meeting with known criminals. The money trail ran from HOA fines to shell companies to Pinnacle Holdings, looping through offshore accounts and back into the hands of people like Veronica, people who'd made a business out of destroying families. Laura broke down telling me about her friend Ethan Carter, a quiet accountant, my old college buddy, who'd been driven to suicide by the same harassment campaign. Reading Ethan's last note, talking about how he couldn't fight the system, I felt that cold fury settle in, the kind that doesn't fade, even after the tears dry. Laura's evidence, plus everything I'd gathered, landed on the desk of the FBI within 24 hours. Turns out, they'd already been tracking similar scams in 3 states. But what happened at my place? The recordings, the UV evidence, the locked gate, the whistleblower testimony, that was the missing piece. When the dust settled, it was the largest HOA corruption bust in U.S. history. Veronica Lane, the Queen Bee, sentenced to 12 years in federal prison. Pinnacle Holdings? Dissolved. Their CEO and half their board landed behind bars for racketeering, witness intimidation, and money laundering. 47 families across 4 states got their homes back, or at least financial compensation for what they'd lost. Laura Bennett became a national hero, testifying before Congress about the need for HOA reform. Mrs. Walker, with her grainy surveillance photos, became a legend in local news, a 73-year-old taking on organized crime from her upstairs window. Me? I started getting calls from people all over the country, folks trapped in the same nightmare, asking for help, asking how to fight back. I used my settlement money to set up the Ethan Carter Defense Fund, hiring lawyers and consultants to help other homeowners fight back against corrupt HOAs. My little tomato garden, now legally certified, live-streamed, and famous on the internet, became a symbol of resistance. People started sharing their own stories, banding together, refusing to be bullied out of their homes. And just when I thought it was over, I got an email from a desperate family in Colorado. Mr. Cooper, our HOA is using the same tactics. Can you help? I picked up the phone, and in that moment, I realized this wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something bigger. Because when you stand up, document everything, and fight smart, you show the world that ordinary people can take on the worst kind of corruption and win. Now, maybe you're watching this and thinking, that's insane. Could that really happen in my neighborhood? Let me tell you, it already is. And the only way it changes is when people stop letting fear run their lives and start turning the tables. So, if you've got a story like mine, or you're just sick of seeing bullies in positions of power, drop a comment, share your thoughts about justice and community. Would you fight back or walk away? What does real ownership mean to you? Because the fight for what's right doesn't end with one story. It starts with yours.